5, Mike 1.
Well, you made it. That's the important thing.
Did it take him 8 or 10? Took him 5. Okay, we're alive.
Are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Sorry we're a little bit late. We had some technology things to work out, but we got it done. So I am Commissioner Folkford as president. Commissioner Delger and Commissioner Obert are on the conference. We're also joined by Doug Ellis. All right. I guess we'll go ahead and start this meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. I talked with Teresa this morning. She was too busy to join us, but she gave us an update. We have 35 active cases, new 9 cases over the weekend, and 10 have been discharged. And also, I have asked Doug Ellis to join us this morning to give us an update on tomorrow's election proceedings. Doug, go ahead, please.
Well, right now we are doing early voting until noon, so we're still registering people to vote. The ballots are going to be, the polls will be open at the fairgrounds at the 4-H building from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. We'll have election judges there. We'll have our county sanitarian there to help with people who come in and are positive but still want to vote and spread the joy. I don't know what much else to tell you. We're just trying to get everybody registered that's coming in this morning.
All right.
So,
I guess thanks, Doug, to you and your staff. You guys are doing a wonderful job considering the circumstances you have to work with. And
yeah.
So
Well,
thank you for
I
that.
can't wait till tomorrow's over.
I'm sure. Corey has a comment.
Hey, Doug, it's Corey.
Okay.
So people that got notice that they were going to the school in person, are you going to have someone at the school that's directing them to the fairgrounds? Or a sign?
No, we're going to have a sign on the door that says that the election has been changed to the 4-H building.
Okay.
That's what statute calls for, is just to put a sign on all the polling places to show where the new polling place will be.
Okay, so like the original polling places throughout the county, there will be signs there?
Right, yep.
Okay.
Yep, we'll put one at the Tossin Fire Hall, Winston Fire Hall, and one at the school.
It'll be open at 7.
And I had somebody contacting me over the weekend saying the website didn't have the correct polling site. I looked at it, and it does. The Townsend MT website, really prominently in the middle of the page there, says in-person voting at the fairgrounds. Is there any other website that that the county is responsible for, that we need to check on for that info? I wasn't aware of any.
And then you get it on the mail.
I've already contacted the Secretary of State for their website, so that's the only other one I know of.
Oh, was their website not correct?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Anything else, Doug?
I don't have anything,
All right.
no.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for joining us this morning.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Doug.
Commissioner, just so you know, Officer Wynn Meehan is on.
Okay.
Watching, so
Okay.
he's present as
All
well.
right. All right, perfect. Let's see. I guess let's go ahead and open the meeting for public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, I guess we'll get on with our agenda. I have the minutes from October 26, 2020 that was sent out to us last week. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes of October 26th.
Second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to approve the minutes from October 26. Any comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see, we'll go through a little bit of mail.
Before you do that, Darrell, we haven't yet approved the minutes of October 5.
Oh, okay.
The statute says that minutes need to be approved within 3 weeks, 21 days of the meeting.
Okay,
We're at 4 weeks, so we're in violation of MCA. So I would like us to approve those minutes.
okay. And I guess I do remember receiving that, and I didn't realize that we had not approved those, so.
I will move that we approve the minutes of October 5, 2020, as sent out by Ann.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from October 5th, 2020. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Laura, for that.
Sure.
Okay, let's see, we did receive a check for $1,200 from Family Medical Clinic for their rent. And we also received a check for $35 from Metal Mines first half of 2020. We have magazine from rural Montana and the Montanan magazine from the University of Montana. This will be on file for anybody that wishes to look at that. I know this morning it was kind of late. I did send a copy of the payroll to you, Mike and Laura. I don't know if you received that. With us being gone this past couple weeks, it was kind of backed up in our mailbox. So if you guys are comfortable approving payroll, we can do that. If not, we will have to wait. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll.
Staff has to be paid. I think it's also in law. So I will second the motion.
All right, thank you. Motion's made and seconded to pay payroll. I guess we have one from September in the amount of $183,623.57. The other is October's payroll, $198,650.08. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. I will sign it, and then I will put it on our table for your guys' signature, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
We don't always, payroll is only signed by the chair.
Oh, okay.
Is there a reason why this one would be different?
No, I guess I didn't see the line on there for anyone else, so yeah, you're right. Okay, I guess we will move on to our public hearing. So I will close this regular commissioners meeting, open a public hearing, and Debbie Kelly, Finance Officer, to present final budget amendments for fiscal year 19 and 20. Debbie?
This is kind of the last budget amendment for fiscal year 1920. Until the auditors have us officially closed and audited, there might be one or two stragglers with some of their adjusting entries. But this should have taken care of everything. The summary sheet lists each fund, and if there was an increase in expenditure or revenue or a decrease. And the resolution takes the net of those two increases, decreases to come up with the totals. So if a revenue increase was more, then the net revenue increased overrode the expenditures, or vice versa for the expenditures. There was a net increase, $843,154.89, and a net decrease of $125. And then whether it was a mid-year grant for some of them with all the COVID, CARES reimbursements, grants, the silos parking lot, I think off the top of my head, any negative cash balances, reimbursements that were received to cover those, are all notated on the summary sheet that goes attached to the resolution.
Okay.
The resolution just gives the net, not much explanation.
I didn't have any questions. Do you guys have any questions for Debbie?
I don't have any, no.
Okay. Laura, did you have any questions?
No, and this is public comment, right? Because we're in the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, I guess I just didn't hear that.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't for public.
Okay. I guess I'll read the first portion of the resolution. So it's FY 1920 expenditure and revenue budget amendments. Whereas section 764006 MCA states the governing body may amend the budget during the fiscal year by conducting public hearings at regular scheduled meetings. Budget amendments providing for additional appropriations must identify the fund reserves, unanticipated revenue, or previously unbudgeted revenue that will fund the appropriation. Whereas sections 764005 MCA states in part, local government officials may not make a disbursement or expenditure or incur an obligation in excess of the total appropriations for that fund. Whereas several unforeseen circumstances arose during 2019 and 2020 fiscal year, and expenditures revenue line items need to be revised accordingly. Now therefore it is resolved that Broadwater County is making the following required expenditure and revenue budget amendments effective fiscal year or June 30th, 2020. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. I guess hearing none, we will close the public hearing and open our regular commissioners meeting to adopt the resolution approving final budget amendments for FY 19 and 20. Commissioners, do you have any comment?
I have none.
I do. Debbie, I know how much time and work goes into putting together the budget amendments, so I want to thank you for your professional work on that. I am going to recuse myself just because I didn't get to participate in the budget, but it does not reflect whatsoever on the quality of your work putting together the amendment.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make the motion if we're ready to make the motion to adopt the, resolution approving the final budget amendments for fiscal year 19 and 20.
Okay, I will second that motion. Motion's made and seconded to adopt the resolution for fiscal year 1920 expenditure revenue budget amendments. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Okay. Next on our agenda is to initiate request for qualifications process for the Silos Recreation Area Management. Laura, would you like to talk about that, please?
Sure. This has been in the works now for well over a year. And at some point we need to actually get out there and get it done. So in the interest of that, getting it done, I reached out to a number of professionals and came up with a request for qualifications and a request for proposal. According to previous contracts we've sent out, or not contracts, but solicitations, the requirement is 21 days. I think we should stick with that. And we of course have some homework to do in the interim, but in 3 weeks we should be able to put out a solicitation that was emailed to, so this should be available for everybody. But we were able to put together, or we should be able to put together a solicitation for anyone who would be, one, qualified, and through the request for qualifications, they can show us and explain what their qualifications are, and then request for proposal. And there's several different areas where they would address to us how they plan, how they propose to manage the Silos Recreation Area. So the RFQ and RFP has the date that this would be due back, the requirement that the manager have $1 million in liability insurance of their own, and where they would return that back to. The request for qualification asks for specifically grant writing experience, experience building consensus and partnerships, reporting experience, and strong written and verbal communication skills and problem-solving skills. And then the RFP portion would solicit information, specifically provide an overview, goals, both long-term and short-term, and the scope of work, essentially a SWOT. And then they would have to explain what their proposal is for funding the Silos Recreation Fund, ongoing maintenance and major repairs, to garbage collection, recycling, and transport of that refuse to the transfer station, grounds maintenance, which includes potentially grass mowing, weed eating and spraying, campsite care, which would be fire pits, table sites, gazebo upkeep and cleaning, daily dock pulling and pushing, parking lots, cleaning and clearing of gravel at the boat launch. Next, dock maintenance and repairs, then bathrooms, stocking, cleaning, personnel, then gazebo maintenance, pressure washing, cleaning before and after rentals, and those start February 1. Administration, reservation system for gazebo rentals, dock rentals, campsites and collection of boat launch fee, which is new, seasonal and daily use, advertising, promoting of the SRA, which is the Silos Recreation Area. Next, the campground hosts or hosts, other personnel that's needed. Then customer service, a plan for a central location for on-site presence and the hours of operation proposed. And finally, all areas above must include annual cost estimates. So that's the proposal, and if we got it out today, we could make the due date 3 weeks from tomorrow, give an extra day. We can use a variety of sources, email, the BCDC email, of course, gets to the most people, the community website. So that would be the RFQ and RFP. Do you guys have any suggested edits, anything that was missed, anything you don't think should be included?
This is Mike. I think that's very well put together, Laura. The only thing I would say is we need to get this out on the BOR website if we can.
Sure, great idea. And I'm sure the Dans will help us with that.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a suggestion. I know this is something that we learned when we did our interview process for our on-call engineer. We discovered that Great West Engineering has a great staff that can help us with our RFQ and RFP process. And I guess my suggestion is to include them in this, and I guess from their standpoint, see if there's anything that maybe we have overlooked.
I'd be happy to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to reach out to Bill or whoever it is that's our designated person after we make that official.
Yes. Yes.
So I would be happy to call those guys this afternoon.
All right. Perfect.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Okay. I think that.
And then if it's good with them, would you guys be good with sending this out then either this afternoon or first thing tomorrow with a deadline of 3 weeks after?
Yes.
Sure. I think that would be fine.
Okay.
All right.
And of course, as always, I'll make sure you guys have a copy and all their comments.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you.
So the other thing with this is we do have the financials from the Silos Recreation Area. They are on the table in the Commission office going back to 2011. In 2013, there was a computer glitch and we lost the financials for that year, but we have all the others. So that 1 year should not derail our moving forward with this. I did write a letter to JSJ following up on the letter you had written, Daryl. And what I did is instead of asking for those financials, since we already have them, I put in there thanks for providing them.
Okay.
Did you guys, I sent you a copy of that letter. Are you guys good with sending that out just as a friendly correspondence and a thank you for the years of service that we've received from JSJ?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see any edits?
Yeah, I did read that letter, and I think that would be fine.
And I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, Corey has
Okay.
a comment. Go ahead, Corey.
Just provide a comment on that. One of the things I think that was also asked in that letter was the usage numbers, because part of what I understand you're trying to accomplish here is, and I guess I'm not entirely clear, is that, are we expecting JSJ is she putting in for this RFQ or is she putting in a proposal?
She has the
Right.
opportunity to do that, yes.
Okay, so I think one of the things that I understood was that there was a need for usage data as well over the last 10 years to try and understand what those trends are. So, I mean, if I think it would be good to have whatever data we can from JSJ and not just cut that off and rescind that request. I guess the other question I have is, are you anticipating, are any of the options on the table for this that that the county not continue to do it as a county function with a contractor, but that actually the Bureau of Reclamation take it over? Has that been discussed at all?
That has not.
Okay. And how quickly are you?
Actually, it has. We have a contract we signed in 2013. In that contract, it states that if we do not have a manager, that's okay with BOR, but the county is obligated for 2 years. So if we said, yeah, we're not going to have a manager out there at the SRA, the county will then perhaps use our existing staff to manage the silos during those 6 months, or hire staff of our own.
I'm not.
The other thing too is those financials have the user numbers. There's been absolutely no conversation that I've been aware of or been a party to that has stated that we are not interested in gathering that kind of data. I'm not sure where that came from. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding. But what we have at this point is that information on the commissioner's table.
Okay. So,
and obviously, data drives financials.
well, the other thing that was requested was the payments to the Bureau of, or the Trust Board as part of that agreement for the docks. I don't know that I've ever seen that information.
There was no agreement that JSJ or the manager pay any money to the trust board for the docks. Absolutely none. The trust board is an advisory board to the commission. The commission had a vote, and we did not vote that JSJ would pay any money to the trust board. And I think this is a great opportunity to share that there was approximately $15,000 that needed to be matched to the trust board's grant in order to install those docks, which at the time were the only docks on this side of the lake. So it was a tremendous service that the trust board and the county and JSJ provided to the citizens in being able to have docks. What JSJ did is they went to a number of the nonprofits around the county and got partnerships to get those docks installed. BCDC was one. The Community Foundation gave a lot of money to that. I believe Rotary was a party. Walleyes Unlimited, they may have been the biggest one, they usually are. But we had a lot of partners. We collectively, as a community, had a lot of partners that came together to make that happen.
And I guess last thing, Commissioner Robert, I'm not familiar with that 2013 contract that you're referencing. I think that was before I came in. Could you send that to me, the one with BOR?
It's in our files. Yep.
Okay, our files at the commission office. I could just come look for it.
Are we talking about the BOR contract or the JSJ contract?
She was referencing a BOR.
No, Corey had asked about the BOR contract, and if we would want to sever our ability to help manage and direct the direction of the SRA. So no, he's talking about the BOR contract.
Okay. All right, good. And and I think that maybe one of the drivers behind some of that data was from a request from RPA when doing the master plan. I think they were looking for some of that data to help them. If there was a focus on a specific area that needed to be focused upon, that they could use some of that data to help them with that.
It's public domain, so you can take anything from that and give it to RPA. I know Sharon's been involved in the master plan.
Yep.
They may have worked with her, I don't know.
Okay.
But that information, that's all public domain. You can share that with RPA to your heart's content.
Okay. Do you have anything else, Mike?
Well, we got information from the trust board, and I don't know if it was a contract or what, that said that SGA was gonna pay 20% to Parks and Recreation for like a period of 10 years off the docks. I don't know if that payment, I know that Sharon made one payment of 10,000, but off of last year it would be about 5,000. I remember looking at like 5,000 a year. But somewhere it was in that manila envelope that I gave you, Daryl, that had the agreement between the trust board and SJS that they would pay 20% dedicated to go to Parks and Recreation, or the part of the Parks and Recreation board, or to that fund.
I would like a copy of that, because I was here when that happened, and of the three of us, I'm the only one who was. The trust board has absolutely, and we had a closed door about this, the trust board has absolutely no authority to be making deals, exchanges for money with any of the county's contractors, including our manager of the SRA. Yes, it was a request that the trust board had, but it was not supported by the commission. Before upholding a desire that the trust board had, the commission needs to review the minutes of the commission meeting at the time in which that was not supported. We maintain 10% across the board. Now, we are agreeing today to send out a solicitation for RFQs and RFPs. At that point, if somebody wants to suggest that they want to pay 20, 30, 50, 90% from the docks, they're welcome to do that. But we cannot go back at this point and demand money from a manager based on an agreement made by an advisory board that was not supported by the commission.
Okay. I think that should be part of our request for proposal. I mean, we own the docks. We get hit for a ton of maintenance on them every year. And we're, so I would think that even a 10% to Parks and Recreation would be reasonable to put that in the RFQ and the RFP.
Why would it go, and I'm not opposed to it going to Parks and Recreation. However, if we're talking about repair to the docks and money being put into the Silos Fund, why would we be diverting from the Silos Recreation Fund and sending that instead to the Rec Board? And we do collect 10% on the docks. We just don't collect the 20%. And I don't know that we want to put that into the RFP.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that should be up to the potential, the applicants, to put together a plan. But why would we want to divert money from the Silos Recreation area and give it to another department? Because that money is supposed to be for maintenance.
Yeah, I see your point there.
Okay, so I
think that was made with the trust board. That if I was on the trust board, my intent would be that money comes to the trust board and then it goes to Parks and Recreation, because the Parks and Recreation is part of the recreation and it has no way to fund itself. Whereas we have a viable income source off of the docks to supplement our Parks and Recreation, which is actually that's what it should be part of. The Silos Recreation area should really be under Parks and Recreation.
No. Unfortunately, this is really complicated and really hard to do over the phone, but they are separate, and there's reasons for that. It's in the contract. I am not an expert on it. But this is something we've been going through since my first day as a commissioner. So I've been immersed in this for 12 years. The Parks and Recreation Board is separate of the silos, and it has to be. The Parks and Recreation Board earns their money from subdivisions. When a subdivider creates a subdivision and opts to give money in lieu of land to the parks requirement for that subdivision, that money goes into the Parks and Recreation Board, and it is for recreation services throughout the county. The Silos Sinking Fund, or the Silos Fund, is specifically for ongoing maintenance and major projects at the silos specifically. That money cannot be used in Winston or in Raidersburg or even in Townsend. It is specifically earmarked for the silos, for ongoing maintenance. The manager, until recently, was never required before to be responsible financially for all the maintenance. And you'll see in that file all the maintenance that JSJ has paid for specifically with those docks. That's one of the things we need to address in the next 3 weeks when we go through the contract and update that.
Yeah, I guess
And then I see us negotiating with whoever puts in the RFP that rises to the top. But the two are separate. What the trust board wanted to do was not allowed, and that's one of the reasons that the commission back then said no. And again, I'm going to take you back to our closed-door meeting with the trust board. There were a number of things that they were doing that were not okay. We should not be overturning commission decisions to defer to an advisory board that unfortunately has a history of doing things incorrectly. The $10,000 that you mentioned, that wasn't a payment because of the docks from JSJ. That was the result of a one-on-one meeting between Sharon Walker and Steve McCullough, in which the agreement was, if you stop hitting me in public the way you are in going after the JSJ business, then I will give you the $10,000 you're requesting. It was not an action that should have been supported by, I don't believe it was supported by the board. In fact, I do have it from a board member that the board was pretty upset about that. Certainly should never have been supported by the commission. That is not the way we can do business or should do business, but it was not a payment for the docks. It was an exchange for no longer publicly annihilating a local business.
Can I say something here?
Yeah, hold on a second, Corey. One thing that I think that we need to make sure that we differentiate is between the RFQ and RFP process and then the contract afterwards. They're two separate items that need to be addressed. So some of these can be addressed in the contract process. Okay, Corey, go ahead.
Well, I just.
The way that we can work that is when we get the information back and we have in parallel updated the contract, we'll need to marry the two.
Okay.
Well, I just think it's inappropriate for a commissioner to be saying that the trust board has a habit of doing things wrong or illegally or whatever. I mean, that, number one, this commission has generally followed the rule that if you're going to address the conduct of a county entity, which they are, that you allow them to be here and have the opportunity to defend themselves. Secondly, I don't agree with Commissioner Obert's characterization as to this closed-door meeting, which I argued should have been open to begin with, and later the commission agreed. And I don't believe that there was any agreement coming out of that the trust board had been doing anything improperly. And also, I think if we're going to go into whatever these private conversations were or whatever, I think let's have a fact-finding, because I know that the trust board's view of those facts is different from what Commissioner Obert just cited. To the extent that affects this RFP going out, then I'm running out of air. I hate these masks. To the extent that that affects this RFP going out, I think the commission needs to hold on until we can get these facts sorted out. To the extent that it's a totally separate issue, I don't have a problem with proceeding. But if there is some kind of an obligation or commitment on the part of the manager, whoever it may be, JSJ or some future person, to repay funds that were provided specifically for those docks, that needs to be clarified clearly before we start making future commitments, whether it's renewal with JSJ or selecting someone else. But I don't think it's appropriate to be trashing the trust board here, because I don't think that's accurate, and they don't have a chance to defend themselves.
Okay. We have some questions
And
online.
Daryl, that's I think an inappropriate summation of this conversation. First of all, what I'm stating about the trust board and their desire for 20% and that money going through the trust board instead of the silos fund to the recreation fund is all completely accurate. And what I've asked you guys to do is look at the minutes so that you can see that the commission did not support the desires of an advisory board. It was then argued that we still need to do as the trust board had wanted rather than what the commission had wanted. And then it was also stated that the $10,000 was a payment from the docks. I have an obligation as a commissioner to insert the facts where erroneous statements are made. I in no way trashed the trust board, but the trust board has made errors when we did have a closed door meeting, and I did not state any of the specifics that were stated in that meeting. And you agreed with us at the time of that meeting, Corey, that some of the things we brought up were inappropriate and needed to be addressed. They have since been corrected. But I, as a commissioner, cannot just sit by and remain quiet when things are stated that are not true or history is stated that it's not true. And as far as making sure that those things are ironed out, that's what we're doing. Going out for RFQs and RFPs has nothing to do today with granting a contract to anyone. What we're going to do is send this out so that we can get some solicitations back. We're going to be working on the contract in parallel at the same time, and then when we have solicitations to work with, we will be working with those and then the contract and marrying the two together. If there is anything left over that needed to be paid, maybe there was a dock rental missed, then yes, we would close all of that out before moving ahead with a new contract, be it an updated contract or brand new. That's exactly what we're doing today.
Okay. Corey, did you have additional
I just
comments?
want to respond. I don't agree that this characterization that in this closed door meeting, I agreed that there was anything that the trust board was doing incorrectly. And what I will remind the commission of is during that meeting, Virgil Binkley and Steve McCullough kept saying, why is this a closed door meeting? We're not discussing anything that would be protected and justify a closed door meeting. Later, this commission agreed that should have been an open meeting. I have received draft minutes from the members of the trust board. I've provided them to the commission to actually codify the minutes from that meeting, and that's never been done. So I would ask that we go ahead and follow up and complete that. Secondly, Commissioner Obert, the discussion you said that Steve McCullough and Sharon Walker had, you're basically, it sounds to me like you're saying there's some kind of extortionist agreement there and money changed hands. And I don't think that's accurate, and I certainly don't think that's appropriate without Mr. McCullough here to defend himself. So what I'm suggesting is, if we're going to go into this, let's actually have a fact finding and get all the facts. To the extent that this is not necessary for today's decision, let's move on and make a decision.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to respond, Corey, and I'm hoping we can go ahead and move on. First of all, the commission never agreed that should have been an open door meeting. In fact, the chairman at the time, Commissioner Delger, said in a public meeting on video that he and you had discussed it and determined it should have been a closed door meeting, and those minutes would remain closed door. Also, I have never been privy to any kind of draft minutes from the trust board. If they exist, I would appreciate being included in that correspondence. We do have closed door minutes from that meeting that is stored per MCA, and those may be opened by a request from a district court judge. If we'd like to review those, we can certainly do that. I'm more than happy to do it. But when you guys say that Sharon paid $10,000 for the docks, that needs to be cleared up, as that is not the fact. She did not pay $10,000 for the docks.
So I think we need to move on from that issue. That's something that we need to cover separately. What's before us today is to initiate the RFQ, RFP process. But we have some comments online. I'd like to get to those, please.
So I have one from Sheriff Wynn. He wrote, the county should not be having to pay extra money to cover a fee-based campground. It should be covered through fees.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that was
Okay.
just it so far.
I think that's the end goal that we would like to get to. So, what's before us is is there a motion to move forward with the RFQ, RFP process?
Yes, I will so move that we do as we have already verbalized we agreed to.
Okay.
Sending it out immediately after connecting with Great West with a submission date 21 days from then.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay. Now, if there's some additional things that need to be added on there, we may not meet that submission date.
Tomorrow's a holiday.
Yeah.
It says,
What would we be adding to it, Daryl?
Well,
That's kind of what today is for. What do you want to add to it?
Well, I guess my thought is that I think that Great West may have some ideas for us to be included, and so I would like to hear what they have to say before this is sent out.
I guess I thought we'd already covered that. If they have more to add, I will send that to you guys,
Yep.
and then we will send it out with the 21 days from that point. So is that still how you want to proceed, or do you want to change that?
I would like to go with that procedure, but I think that to be everything out in the open like we're trying to do, I think that we should have that, any changes that Great West has that on the agenda next week, and then send out those proposals next Monday.
Okay. And remember that we have some holidays. We got one tomorrow, and then we have one next Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I think if we meet next Monday, and then everybody approves of what Great West and Laura has put together, then we vote on it and send that out.
Okay.
Until we agree, we cannot send the letter. So at this point, nothing is getting sent out until potentially next Monday.
Okay. Very good.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So I'll make the motion to initiate the request for qualifications and silent recreation areas management upon approval of next Monday's meeting.
And we don't even need a motion for that because it's not an action. The action has now been deferred to next week, so we can just verbally agree that we're going to go ahead and put it on next week's agenda and potentially move forward from there.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
All right. Next on our agenda is Corey Swanson, County Attorney, the co-counsel request. Corey?
So this is a lawsuit that I'm not actually counsel of record on, so I'm not appearing in court on this case, but I have to kind of manage litigation and costs. So this is the case of the Broadwater reporter versus Broadwater County and the sheriff. Our counsel at this point is Peter Simon, representing the county and the sheriff. There's been some additional complicating issues in the case. Commissioner Roberts joined it as a defendant intervener, and I guess information I've received from Mr. Simon is that it's gotten a little complicated in that there's additional claims for attorney's fees, and the case is apparently growing beyond what Mr. Simon feels that as a single practitioner he's able to accomplish. He's requested co-counsel. Elizabeth Lund of the Berg Lilly firm in Bozeman has represented the county in the past. She represented the county on a federal lawsuit in which Durwood Osterhout, who is a criminal defendant, sued the county. She's a very, very good litigator. Her firm has specialized in these specific issues and has been involved in some of these cases before. She's confirmed she doesn't have a conflict of interest, so she's able to join immediately. She'll actually, I don't know the answer to this, but I believe Mr. Simon expects that she's actually going to take over as lead counsel. So what I provided to the court or to the commission is just the authorization for, and there's a typo there. It shouldn't say prosecutorial assistance. Apologize for that. It would actually be authorizing litigation experience, so assistance. So I'll probably go ahead and get you a fixed one on that. Now I understand that only only one of the commissioners is actually personally present. So what I would ask is to do a verbal vote, and then I can follow up this document with signatures. But this would basically just be authorizing Lila Lund and her firm to join for the civil lawsuit.
Okay.
And I'm available for questions if you have any questions.
Do you guys have any questions?
Are we still retaining Peter Simon on this also? He'll still be involved?
Yeah, my understanding is he will be involved. He's going to have Lila take over as lead counsel, and he's going to try to, he just said he was going to try to save us money by, not duplicating effort with her. And then
Okay.
That's what I know.
All right, thanks, Corey.
Any other questions?
I don't have any. I will make the motion to approve the resolution for approving special deputy county attorney.
Okay, I will.
I'm recusing myself, so I will not second the motion.
Yep, okay. I will second the motion authorizing litigation assistance to approve Elizabeth Lund of Berg and Lilly to help in this lawsuit. Is there any public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tim Ravendall, Conservative News from Montana. With this, certainly has, I guess you could say, morphed into a different scenario that everyone expected when this was first opened under the color of law. The whole aspect of the freedom of the press to have access to things that are covered under Montana law, under Title 45, as well as other segments of our Montana laws, Title 7, etc. It is just kind of amazing that we're continuing to move forward with this in this manner, considering the law is clear and practice has been very well documented across Montana. So I guess I just ask that in the interest of not only the press that has been working to try to get the information and the truth to the people, that the commission move forward expediently as possible. And I think Mr. Swanson and made the comment that, trying to make sure that there is no duplication here is merited and very well thought out and considered. As a member of the press, business, I think it's very important that this get taken care of expediently so that the people can move on, because this is costing, the taxpayers a lot of money when it's clear under the law, and I will just leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All those in favor of authorizing litigation assistance in this lawsuit, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. And Corey, you'll get me a corrected version of this.
I will.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Daryl, I would like to be on the record that, one, this resolution was not received by the commission until after, I think it was 6:38 Friday evening. Therefore, the rights to participate were nil. And two, the second word on the top of that document is resolution, and county policy does require, I think the wording is shall have a public hearing prior to adoption.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Corey?
Do we want to have a public hearing? We could do that.
No, it's, I don't think we need one.
To my knowledge, we weren't in a hearing scenario, were we?
No. Okay. Did you get the vote, Helen? Yes. Okay. Moving on is the decision to approve our on-call engineering contract from Great West Engineering. Corey, you've had an opportunity to look over this contract and you're okay with it, correct?
Yeah, it looks fine. No suggested changes.
Okay. Did you guys have any comments or discussion on this contract with Great West Engineering?
No, I think the contract's good, and I'd like to thank all the people that were on the board once again for participating in that process that we went through, and I would make the motion that we approve the on-call engineering contract from Great Western Engineers.
And I'm going to recuse myself from that, as my husband is an engineer, although he does not have anything whatsoever to do with any of the engineering companies that submitted applications or was selected. He just happens to be a trained engineer.
Okay, thank you for that. I will second that motion. Motion's made and seconded to approve the contract with Great West Engineering to be our on-call engineer. Is there any public comment?
Mr. Chairman, Tim Ravendall,
Yes.
Conservative News from Montana. Just a quick clarification on behalf of the citizens of Broadwater County. With everything under, I guess you could say, virtual reality, has this process of providing this opportunity for Great West North or Engineering, was that put out on bid? Because we have 3 other engineers that actually reside in Broadwater County, and I just have not heard their names other than Great West and WWC are the 2 main ones that we hear about on a regular basis. I just was wondering if that was put out on behalf of the citizens for a competitive process, and I've just got a copy of the deal this morning, so I'm not sure exactly the details there. Thank you.
Yeah, answer to your question is yes, and we received, I believe it was 5 responses from engineering firms, and they submitted their request, and it was narrowed down to 3 to do an interview with. Out of that 3, one of them decided to not go through the interviewing process, so then it came down to an actual interview process with the 2 engineering firms that were left, which was WWC and Great West Engineering. And it was actually a great process, and we had a lot of input from all interested parties. Or those that were interested, so.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other discussion? Okay, Hearing none, all those in favor of Great West Engineering being the on-call engineer for Broadwater County signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Daryl, who is our contact for Great West?
Let's see. Well, Bill Lloyd did send this this contract, but let me look through here. I think the engineer that we will be working with, I think his name is in here. Hold on. Yeah, Carl Yankovic will be our project manager. Okay, thank you, Corey.
Oh, all right, good. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I'll call him this afternoon and get him a copy today.
All right, perfect. And Carl came down with Bill and their team, and we had a chance to meet him as we went through the oral interview process. Okay. How do you guys want to go about signing this contract?
I'll be in the office Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll sign on Thursday.
Okay, perfect. I will just put it on our table there for signature. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Townsend Airport Capital Improvement Plan submission to Montana Aeronautics. So right now we will be entering the preliminary engineering and initial design phase for the Townsend Airport project. And so this capital improvement needs to be submitted to the Aeronautics, and I think eventually probably to the FAA for funding, grant funding when that project is planned, which I believe is going to be in 2023. Any comments or questions on the capital improvement plan?
No, I looked at it all and everything looks good.
Okay. Laura, did you have a comment?
No, I'm going to make a motion that we move forward with the capital improvement plan submission to Montana Aeronautics for the Townsend County City Airport.
Okay.
And I'll second
Or
the
City
motion.
County Airport, however you want to put that.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Motion's made and seconded to move forward with the capital improvement plan submission for the Townsend Airport. Is there any public discussion? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, last thing on our agenda is the approval of the airport lease agreement for Mark and Lisa Souther.
I'll make the motion to approve the lease agreement for Mark and Lisa Souther for the airport hangar.
And I am happy to second that motion.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded to approve the airport lease for Mark and Lisa Souther. Is there any public discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Thank you. I will take a copy of this to the city to put on their agenda for their approval.
Correct.
Any comments?
Yes, I do have one, actually. Sheriff Wynn just sent me this, and he said, will you ask Daryl if I can be on the agenda for next Monday for a general LE update?
Okay, yeah, you bet. We will put you on the agenda when, and maybe that might be a good opportunity to get an update from some other departments as well. I guess the only comment that I have is a reminder for everyone to get out and vote. And do you guys have any other additional comments?
I do, Daryl.
Okay.
I have two, and just reading the comments, I just want Wynn to know, and anyone else who's listening, that the county doesn't pay for camping at the silos. That is actually all covered by fees. It's a fee-based fund, and what funds the silos maintenance fund or the silos recreation fund is the fees derived from people using the facilities at the silos. So I hope that's clear. And the other thing is what is our mask policy?
For
anyone coming into the courthouse with an appointment or attending commission meetings?
yes, they've been requested to wear a mask.
Just requested, it's not required in order to stay?
No, it is required. I mean, the sign does say mask required, so.
And it applies to whom?
Applies to everybody.
If we're going to have a policy taped on the door of the courthouse or that the commission has agreed to, I think that across the board, what we agree on, what our policies are, have to be followed equitably for everyone, the same as everyone else. That's my only comment.
Okay, thank you. Mike, do you have anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
And if you would please include in the minutes, Mr. Ravenel is not wearing a mask. He should be treated as everyone else.
All right. Okay, we're adjourned at 11:15. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Daryl.
You're welcome.